Hello and welcome to the Idaho Renaissance Fair's YouTube page. We have a very special guest with us today. I know that you're a little on the lost side, but thank you so much for coming. Can you tell us who you are?
Yeah, I'm. My name is Henry Mudgett. I'm the ferry catcher around here. I catch fairies and all manner of fairy like goblins and sprites and brownies and gnomes. But I don't do trolls or dragons. You need a witcher for them.
So there's a difference between a witcher and a fairy catcher.
Oh, absolutely. I would be what you would call a semi-professional layman. I am not endowed with any magical abilities, whereas as witches have magical properties and tinctures that aid them. I'm just a man who's hunting fairies.
So do you actually work with witchers ever?
Occasionally, I'll do odd jobs for them. I'll do this little side jobs that if they're busy with like a cockamora or something scary like that. They need me to go just to take care of a minor infestation or something like that.
Have you ever actually helped take down a troll or a dragon?
Oh no! Oh no!
You draw the line.
Oh, that's too much. That's too much. I would die, most assuredly.
So, what is the biggest fairy that you've ever caught?
The
what is?
biggest.
Because you said goblins and things like that, and goblins are what, about children's size? Right?
Yeah, they're about 2 to 3 feet tall. The big ones can get about 3 feet. They got nasty chompers on them. They'll bite your fingers right off if you're not careful. I haven't caught anything much bigger than a goblin. But yeah, probably the goblins are about the biggest I've caught. I've got one. His name is Willem Defoe. He's a green goblin, and he's dead now. I caught him and he's in the cage. He's drying out so I can sell him.
Is this a common thing you do? Is holding on to your catches and
Oh yes,
dehydrating them?
Well, see, here's how this works. For the most part, I will catch the fairies or goblins or what have you, and their body parts can be dried and powdered, and then put into tinctures and potions. There's a tincture that bring your hair back, and other potions that you could use. Medical things, but I don't do any of that. I just catch them and I will usually dry them out, and then I sell them to my friend Dr. Faust, and he will turn them into potions and then sell them.
How long have you been doing this?
How long have I been doing this? Well, let me see. I started catching fairies when I was just a young man, probably 14 or 15.
How old are you now?
I'm not quite sure. In my 40s, I would expect.
Somewhere in that. So you've been doing this for most of your life. Then.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that would be 30. If we assume, with your permission, of course, that you're about 45 then.
Oh, probably around 45.
So, I mean, that puts you at 31 years.
Yeah.
Have you ever wanted to do anything else?
No, not particularly. It is my passion. It is my calling.
Is this something that your mom and your dad did?
Oh, no. Oh, no, not at all.
So, how do you get started? If mom and dad aren't doing these, what did they do?
Well, my father was an English lord, and my mother was his Scottish scullery maid, and I am his illegitimate son, at least according to her. That's she says that I'm his son, and so I was never acknowledged as a son of my father, but. At a very early age, my little sister was stolen by the Fae. So I don't know if you know this, but the Fae will take a child, and then they will replace it with something called a changeling. And that changeling looks exactly like the child, but it doesn't act like the child. It's mean and nasty and just a horrible little child. It's usually another fae or a goblin of some kind that's magically disguised to look like that child.
And this is a common problem?
It's more common than you'd think. If you've got a child that suddenly starts misbehaving, that's probably a changeling.
And how do you fix that? I mean, obviously, if they're hidden as the child, like, you don't get to dehydrate them. Like,
No. So to fix that, you've got to go and catch the changeling, and then you've got to do, I wouldn't say torture, but you've got to convince it to reveal itself, and then that changeling will go back and swap back with the child.
have you ever got the wrong changeling?
You mean a
Like,
child that wasn't a changeling?
Just out of curiosity. I mean,
I mean, not to my knowledge. I've had no complaints from the parents.
Okay. Well, I mean, that goes to show your professionalism.
Absolutely.
The fact that you haven't made any complainable mistakes.
Not to my knowledge, no.
So your sister was one of these.
She was, and she was taken. I've never seen her again.
Oh, so you didn't find that changeling?
I didn't. I was as I said, I was a young man when that happened. She was my little sister. I didn't know much about fairy hunting at all at that point.
Are you still looking?
I am.
Are you close?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. I haven't heard anything of her in a very long time. I would assume she's probably permanently taken by the fae or perhaps dead at this point.
So, if I'm understanding correctly, and definitely do correct me if I'm wrong, your sister turned really bad.
Yes.
Just that fast.
Yes.
And 31 years later, she's still bad?
Well, eventually the changeling will just leave.
Oh.
And you never see them again.
So your sister just randomly vanished.
Well, she turned evil first. And then she was gone one day. Yeah.
What qualifies as an evil act from your little sister? I'm assuming this is a younger sister.
She is, yeah, my little sister, a few years younger than me.
So what was the first evil act that really clued you into this changeling takeover?
She bit my mother's finger off.
Oh, completely.
Yeah, in just one jump.
I apologize.
Yeah.
I was making way lighter of this situation.
And it's not a funny thing. I mean, they can be really dangerous.
Oh, they took the finger.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, it's not like you can fix that.
Oh no, my mother's only got 9 now.
And she's still alive. No, she's gone.
No.
What happened?
My dear mother's passed away. Bless her heart.
Natural causes?
Oh yes.
Oh, not
yes.
fairy. No,
no, not at all.
And what about your father, your dad? Is he?
Oh, as I said, I've never spoken to him.
Because he's the Scottish lord.
He's an English lord.
English lord.
English lord. My mother was Scottish. I did grow up in and around his household because she was still his scullery maid for a number of years after, but he never paid me any attention.
Was your sister from the same father?
I'm not sure. I do not know the answer to that.
You have a very clouded history.
I do, yes.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
Just the one sister.
Just the one sister. Obviously, you met your father.
I did.
Even though not recognized.
Sure.
So, are you able to tell us roughly who your father is? Like what his name is or where he's at?
I've been instructed that is not proper for me to reveal.
That is fair. That is fair. That was probably asking too far. I apologize.
Oh no, not at all. No questions are off limits.
Well, then let's go with this one instead. Have you found someone to share your life with? Are you married?
I am not.
You're not married.
The fairy hunting keeps me rather busy.
That is fair. I don't imagine there's a lot of women that necessarily become fairy hunters.
No, it's a dangerous line of work, and you have to move around a lot. I'm not really. I move from town to town quite a bit, wherever I'm needed.
That is fair. Now, if you don't want to answer this question, you don't have to, but do you know of any children of your own that you have?
Are you about to bring someone out from behind the curtain?
No. I would never do that. I'd never do that to a guest.
I don't know of any children I've got.
That is fair.
All right.
I just,
Well, you scared me there for a moment.
You travel so much, it just seemed like, I don't know, in all of your adventures, I mean, maybe?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, that is fair. Is this a lifelong thing? Are you going to do this until the day you die?
You know, I've never really thought about it. I can't really see myself doing anything else. It's what I love. It's my passion. So I will probably do it until a fairy gets me.
Have you had any experiences where a fairy almost got you?
A fairy almost got me. I mean, it seems like on a daily basis I have brushes with death. For the most part, the little ones aren't that dangerous, but once you get up to larger ones like goblin size, they can be a little dangerous. I tend to know pretty well when I need to back off, because some of the larger like human size fairies, if you will, those are really tricky. You've got to know what you're doing, and you got to know when you need to leave so you don't get ate or captured or something.
Who teaches someone to do this?
Well, for the most part, I'm quite self-taught. I do have a few mentors. Dr. Faust, as I mentioned earlier, was one of them. He taught me quite a lot of book learning, a lot of smarts about fairies and where to find them and what the different kinds are and what they do. I do have another friend. Her name is Nanny Greenteeth, and we're on amicable terms with each other. She will sometimes sell me fairy parts, or I will find certain fairies that she's looking for. She is a practitioner of unconventional arts, if you will, and so sometimes she needs fairy parts, and so we have a barter system and exchange system, and she's quite a lot older than me. She's got a lot more experience, and she's taught me a few things.
She's a witch, isn't she?
I'm not going to say that.
Is this some kind of agreement you have with her?
I don't know what you're talking about.
How long have you been working with this Nanny Greenteeth?
Oh, for quite some time. I would say most of my career.
Did she find you, or did you find her?
I accidentally found her. It was one of those situations where I was tasked to take care of a haunting or a mysterious thing going on. I was hired by a group of people, and I didn't quite know I was early in my career. I didn't quite know what I was getting into. And once I realized who she was and what she was capable of, I decided that a parlay, pardon my French, might be a little more amicable for both of us.
Would you consider her a friend then? Someone that you would confide with?
I would consider, I've learned a new word recently, I would consider her a frenemy.
Ah,
yeah.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Exactly,
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Now, how far do you travel for your fairy catching? Do you have a boundary or a border that you'd like to stick within?
No, as long as someone's willing to pay for my transport there, and back, which we'll talk about later.
Oh yes, of course. Promises were
There's
made.
promised things coming here. But no, as long as someone is willing to pay me a good price, I can go pretty much anywhere.
Okay, so let me ask this then: what's the farthest you've gone? Have you made it to like Egypt?
Oh no, I've never gone so far as Africa. Mostly the European continents. I've gone up a little bit into the Scandinavian countries.
Gotcha.
For you Americans, and mostly in Europe, a little bit into like Eastern Europe, but not quite much further than that.
Fair enough. So, being well traveled as you are, do you run into different fairies?
Oh yes. There's all kinds of different fairies, different cultures of fairies, if you will.
Which one is the most profitable for you?
The most profitable. The most profitable that I've actually successfully captured, or
Well, it wouldn't be very profitable if you don't catch them,
well,
right?
yes. Well, there are some fairies that have very magical properties, but they're very difficult to find, and I have not as of yet found them or captured them. I would say that the most profitable was, there was a little fairy about this tall, and they're pretty common, but people tend, once they realize what they are, they really tend to want to get rid of them badly. They'll pay a high price. I think you know them as the Tooth Fairy, which...
Oh, yeah. No, it's a pretty popular one for
Yes.
us.
Well,
Really nice fairy, comes in, you put a tooth under your pillow, takes the tooth, and leaves you money.
incorrect, sir. No. See, that is all the myth that they have established around themselves. The Tooth Fairy, or a Tooth Fairy, because there is more than one. Most folks think there's only one, but it is a subclass of Fae, if you will, the Tooth Fairy. They are, I would say, one of the vilest creatures out there. I had a rather disturbing incident with the one that I have caught, the Tooth Fairy I have. The myth of them amicably taking teeth that have just naturally fallen out of children's heads is just that. It is a myth. They actually tend more to take them by force. They will sneak into your bed in the middle of the night, specifically children, and they will violently rip teeth from their skulls.
Oh, my word.
Yes. And generally they will also, if they find, loose teeth hidden under the pillow, they will also take those. But that is a myth that they have actually perpetuated to make their job a little easier. So that if your teeth naturally fall out, now they don't got to rip it out of your head. But if they need teeth, they'll rip them right out of your head.
Well, do they still leave you money?
Not to my knowledge.
So, okay, hold on then. What do they need the teeth for? Why would they do that?
Oh, they use them as building materials.
It's a small building.
They need a lot of teeth.
That's fair. And
Yes.
you've seen this.
I have. So I've gone into a Tooth Fairy's lair, and they line the walls with them, and they build structures with them.
How do you get in?
How did I? Well, it was a cave, and I watched them, and I was able to track one from a window. I found their cave, and I went in, and it was actually they live in groups. And so it was actually quite a scary experience going into that cave. I almost didn't make it out with my life that time.
I was about to say, that sounds way dangerous.
I was able to capture one of them, but a whole bunch of them got away.
So there's multiple tooth fairies.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Are we
absolutely.
talking hundreds of
I would
fairies?
guess.
Ooh.
Worldwide, probably hundreds of thousands of them.
That sounds like a problem. Why don't more people know about this?
Well, they're pretty good about keeping themselves under wraps. And
just like the other fairies.
yeah.
So why don't you recruit people to help you if this is such a big problem?
You know, I would potentially be interested in taking an apprentice under my wing, but it is such a dangerous line of work. I would feel responsible for that individual if they were to get seriously maimed or even killed.
Have you ever had an apprentice?
No,
In
it's
31 years.
It's just been me for the most part.
Sounds very lonely.
That is.
Do you have any prospects for companionship?
Well, I am betrothed, actually.
Really?
I
Well,
am.
congratulations.
Why, thank you. I am betrothed to the Princess Bianca.
Princess Bianca. Which one is she?
She's the one in the blue. She's got a twin sister.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Does she know?
I think so.
Okay.
Sometimes she likes to play hard to get, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
A whole princess. That's very nice. Congratulations.
Well,
for
thank you.
So is that why you keep coming to the Idaho Renaissance Fair?
Well, I do, yes.
Is for the betrothed.
Well, a number of reasons, yeah. I usually get hired by one vendor or the other to help exterminate some fairies or to help patrol the grounds.
Now I've seen pictures of that, and you sometimes have children in your cage. What is going on with that?
Well, sometimes, because fairies are really good at hiding themselves, sometimes you can't really tell if they're a fairy or if they're a child. So you gotta. The best thing to do is to just, if you're not sure, you put them in a cage, and then you do some tests on them to see if they're fairies or not.
And you do these at the fair.
I do.
Can you demonstrate a test question or what?
The easiest way to tell is if you can pat your head and rub your tummy at the same time, you're not a fairy. Because, see, fairies can't do this.
Really?
Yeah.
It's very, sounds very scientific.
It's very scientific. Dr. Faust taught me that one.
Aha.
Yeah.
And, I guess I should ask, who exactly is Dr. Faust?
Oh, Dr. Faust, he's a doctor.
Yeah?
Yeah, I met him up north. And
In Scandinavian area.
somewhere around there.
Uh-huh.
He like I said, he will purchase fairy pots from me, and he makes potions and experiments with them, and then sells them to the general population.
Uh-huh. And he told you they can't pat their head and rub their stomach.
He did.
That's good to know. So for the people watching this, now you know how to kind of tell the difference between. Would that be a changeling then?
Well,
Specifically,
pretty much any fairy can't do that. But you've got to be careful, because that's not a surefire test. Once you've gotten that, because there are some children who also can't pat their head and rub their tummy at the same time.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we have to delve into other tests, which I won't go into now. They're rather complicated.
Right.
And
Okay.
that's a quick way to tell if it's a child.
Is it they can rub?
Right.
Your line of work sounds extremely difficult.
It is. It can be confusing sometimes.
Yeah, I'm gathering that. I know you're a busy man, and there's a lot you have to do, and then of course you got to earn your payment. So I don't want to keep you here. But if any of our viewers have any questions or anything like that, would it be okay if we might have you back one day to answer some of the questions from some of the other people?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. There needs to be more understanding and recognition of the fairy threat that is facing us today. Most folks don't understand the threat.
Well, I mean, the Tooth Fairy, sir, was a nice example.
Oh, absolutely.
So, good to know. Okay, so yeah, if anyone has any questions or concerns or comments or anything for our wonderful fairy catcher here, Henry, then please, by all means, ask them. We'll see if we can't get him back. In the meantime, we hope that your history is as fun as our history. Henry, thank you again so much for being here with us.
Welcome.
Definitely hope your history is as fun as our history. Make sure you come on back in, and we will catch you hopefully at the Renaissance Fair here shortly. Huzzah!
Huzzah!